Picture this. You walk into a Panera Bread on a quiet Illinois morning, thinking you'll grab your coffee, maybe a cinnamon crunch bagel, even one of those overpriced flatbreads you tell yourself is healthy. The biggest drama you expect? Whether they gave you the wrong soup in your bread bowl. But no. Instead, you witness a scene that makes your HOA board meetings look like kindergarten nap time. A woman, whom the internet quickly christened Panera Karen, detonates like a bread bowl dropped from space. Words are exchanged, coffee almost goes airborne, a phone gets grabbed, and before you can say, "Would you like that toasted?" the police are slapping on Miranda rights. And folks, this isn't just your average meltdown. Nope. This one spirals into felony hate crime charges. Yup, felony. Because apparently, nothing says lunchtime in America like ordering a sandwich with a side of racism. Now, before we dive in, let me warn you, this story is like a sourdough starter. It keeps bubbling, it smells funky, and it has way too many layers. So grab your HOA bylaws, because we're about to pick apart the 10 most ridiculous, infuriating, and eyebrow-raising facts about Panera Karen's meltdown that turned a carb run into a criminal case. Here's where it all begins. It's Saturday, November 16th, 2024, Downers Grove, Illinois. The kind of suburban place where lawns are edged to military precision and neighbors file complaints about your recycling bin being out 5 minutes late. It's not the Bronx. It's not downtown Chicago. It's Panera Bread. Enter Alexandra Sustakiewicz, 64 years old. She walks into Panera like it's just another Saturday, maybe with her usual order in mind, a broccoli cheddar soup, a bagel, maybe a hazelnut coffee. Instead, she sets off a chain reaction so bizarre, so public, and so drenched in social tension that it ends with her name splashed across national headlines. The supposed trigger? A man, later identified as Wasim Zaran, wearing a sweatshirt that read Palestine. That's it. Not down with HOA, not Karen season is open, just the word Palestine. Now, in any normal world, you'd look at that sweatshirt, shrug, and go back to worrying if Panera's free Wi-Fi can handle Netflix. But not Alexandra. Nope. To her, this sweatshirt was the equivalent of seeing someone leave their trash bins out 2 days early. It must be confronted loudly, immediately, and preferably with maximum drama. Witnesses say Sustakiewicz immediately lasered in on Zaran and his pregnant wife, like a hawk spotting a field mouse. She didn't say, "Oh, nice sweatshirt. Where'd you get it?" She didn't even ignore it like a sensible person in line for overpriced carbs. Instead, she opened with what police later confirmed as politically charged, hateful remarks. One comment stood out like graffiti on your HOA's fancy white fence. She allegedly muttered, "I'm not going to trouble with some terrorist." Yeah, she went from bagels to terrorism in 0 seconds flat. That's like complaining about your neighbor's lawn gnome and then accusing them of espionage. Now here's where the HOA analogy fits like cream cheese on a bagel. Every neighborhood has that one person who can't just let things be. You put up holiday lights a week too early? They call the HOA. You paint your garage door eggshell instead of snow whisper white. They call the HOA. And when they see a sweatshirt they don't like, apparently, they call you a terrorist in Panera. From here, things snowballed faster than a toddler with an unattended Sharpie. According to the official police report and video evidence. Oh yes, there's video. This is America in 2024, where everything embarrassing is caught in HD. Sustakiewicz escalated. The pregnant wife, fed up with being harassed, pulled out her phone to record. Because that's what you do now. It's 2024. If there isn't footage, it didn't happen. Recording someone is like filing a complaint with the internet HOA. And who boy, Karen did not like that. Witnesses say Sustakiewicz lunged at the phone, trying to knock it away. That's when Zaran stepped between his wife and Sustakiewicz. Classic, "my wife's pregnant, you're not grabbing her phone" move. Things got tense. Voices raised. Coffee sloshed dangerously. At one point, Sustakiewicz allegedly looked like she was about to throw her cup. And then, the piece de resistance, Sustakiewicz allegedly swung and made contact with Zaran's face. Folks, that's no longer a Panera tiff. That's battery. That's when you graduate from annoying HOA neighbor to call the cops. And oh, did the police enter? Downers Grove officers arrived, already armed with the holy grail of HOA drama resolution, body cameras. They interviewed Sustakiewicz, who was stunned, to learn that lunging at people and calling them terrorists has consequences. She asked officers what being arrested even meant. This is like a chronic HOA complainer acting shocked when the board finally fines them for leaving 10 flamingos in their yard. The cops read her rights, cuffed her, and explained she was facing battery charges. But here's where it escalates from a messy Saturday at Panera to felony hate crime territory. Because Illinois law doesn't just shrug at prejudice-driven confrontations, it upgrades them. And just like that, a sweatshirt sighting turned into an arrest record. Let's be real. This whole scene is HOA energy on steroids. Replace Panera with your neighborhood clubhouse. Replace the Palestine sweatshirt with someone's choice to plant native wildflowers instead of Kentucky bluegrass, and you've got the same dynamic. One person sees something they don't like. They think it's their job to police it. They escalate instead of walking away. It blows up into a drama bigger than the actual issue. The only difference is that instead of HOA fines, this one ends in felony charges. And here's the kicker. That sweatshirt wasn't just fabric. It was the match that lit the bagel-shaped powder keg. But if you think this story stops at a few nasty words and some coffee sloshing, oh no. Because next, we dive into Fact 2, the hoodie that sparked a hate crime, where we unpack how one word on a sweatshirt went from cotton to court case. So let's rewind for a second. Imagine you're standing in line at Panera. The smell of broccoli cheddar soup is floating through the air. Someone is impatiently tapping their foot because the free Wi-Fi isn't loading fast enough, and you're just waiting for your buzzer to go off so you can claim your car prize. Now in walks a guy in a sweatshirt, not a Metallica hoodie, not one of those Survive 2020 novelty hoodies. Nope, just a simple dark sweatshirt with one word across the back, Palestine. That's it, a word, 6 syllables, cotton, thread, and fabric. To most people, it's about as dramatic as someone wearing a Cubs cap. You notice it, you move on, you return to scrolling TikTok. But to Alexandra Sustakiewicz, Panera Karen, this hoodie was like your neighbor installing a 30-foot inflatable Halloween skeleton in July. It cannot be ignored. It had to be addressed. According to police reports and body cam transcripts, Sustakiewicz allegedly opened the conversation by mocking and targeting Wasim Zaran over the word on his hoodie. It wasn't just casual commentary. It was racially charged, confrontational, and designed to sting. And here's the kicker. Zaran wasn't alone. His pregnant wife was with him, which means this wasn't just a spat between two random customers. This was a pregnant woman being harassed in public in broad daylight while ordering a sandwich. If you've ever seen a pregnant woman craving food, you do not get between her and lunch. That's a fight you will not win. Now, here's where this story leaves awkward public encounter and upgrades to Internet Exhibit A. The wife, tired of the harassment, does what millions of people now do instinctively. She pulled out her phone and started recording. Because in 2024, the universal law is this. If it's not on video, it didn't happen. Think about it. Our lives are now HOA monitored by smartphones. Your neighbor mows his lawn at 10 p.m. Someone records. Your HOA president cuts in line at Starbucks. Someone records. And when a woman in Panera starts yelling about sweatshirts and terrorists, oh, you better believe someone's recording. But to Panera Karen, this wasn't just a phone. No. This was an act of war. A digital HOA violation. A strike against her imagined authority. Witnesses say she lunged for the phone like it was contraband. Cue husband hero moment. Zaran stepped between his wife and Sustakiewicz, like a protective HOA treasurer defending the clubhouse budget. His one job? Don't let Karen grab the phone. This is when things start to get messy. Voices rise. Hands flail. And according to video evidence, Sustakiewicz looked like she was about to throw her hot coffee. For a second, we almost had ourselves a Starbucks-level scalding lawsuit inside Panera. But the boiling point wasn't the coffee. It was her words. When questioned by police later, Sustakiewicz admitted she called Zaran a terrorist. She tried to spin it by saying she felt threatened, that he was charging at her. But the problem is you don't get to just toss that word out like free croutons. Because here's the legal brick wall she slammed into. Illinois hate crime law. In Illinois, a crime that would normally be a misdemeanor, like disorderly conduct or simple battery, automatically escalates to a felony if it's motivated by prejudice against someone's race, religion, ethnicity, or nationality. That means when she threw out the terrorist comment and paired it with physical confrontation, she effectively upgraded her Panera meltdown into a felony hate crime case. That's like going from, your HOA fined you $50 for your lawn, to the county just seized your house because you wouldn't stop planting illegal bamboo. Big difference. Let's break this down HOA style, because law can feel like a stale baguette if you don't butter it with humor. Battery in Illinois equals class A misdemeanor. Disorderly conduct equals another misdemeanor, usually a fine or short jail stint. Hate crime equals felony. We're talking up to 3 years in prison, thousands in fines, probation, mandatory counseling. So what turned Karen's Saturday errand into front-page news? The motive. She wasn't just rude. She wasn't just pushy. She wasn't just spilling coffee. She allegedly targeted someone because of their identity. And the law treats that very differently. Think of it like HOA rules. Forget to mow your lawn? You pay $25. Spray paint. I hate my HOA on the clubhouse. Now you're in felony territory. It's not the act, it's the intent behind it. Now, Panera Karen did try to play the freedom of speech card. In the police body cam video, she's heard arguing, freedom of speech, right? I can say what I want. Yes, Karen, freedom of speech means you can complain about Panera's soup portion sizes all day long. But here's the thing. Freedom of speech doesn't mean freedom from consequences. You can yell the HOA sucks at your board meeting. That's speech. But if you then throw your neighbor's recycling bin at them while yelling it, guess what? You've upgraded from speech to assault. Same here. She didn't just express an opinion. She combined words with physical escalation. And in Illinois, that combo meal comes with felony fries. Here's the HOA-style analogy to really make it click. Imagine your neighbor puts a little welcome sign in their yard. You don't like it. You think it clashes with the aesthetic integrity of the subdivision. Instead of minding your own business, you march over, yell at them about their poor taste, try to rip the sign out of their lawn, and call them a criminal for having it. Congratulations, you've just escalated a garden gnome into a legal nightmare. That's exactly what happened with the Palestine sweatshirt. A word on cotton. Nothing illegal, nothing harmful, nothing disruptive. But because Panera Karen treated it like an HOA violating solar panel, she ended up in cuffs. Now let's talk about the fallout. When the video hit the internet, Reddit, TikTok, Twitter, okay, X, but let's be real, it'll always be Twitter, people went off. Comments poured in. Memes thou fasta tan hua zu mo mu. Some joked about terrorist bagels. Others pointed out the double standards in how hate crimes are charged depending on the group targeted. And this is where it got serious. Organizations like Care Chicago immediately condemned the attack. They didn't treat it like just another viral Karen moment. They framed it as part of a pattern of anti-Palestinian harassment. For Zoran and his wife, it wasn't just about a hoodie. It was about years of being singled out for their identity, which is exactly why hate crime laws exist in the first place. So here's the bottom line. This wasn't about a sweatshirt. It wasn't about Panera. It wasn't even about coffee almost being thrown. It was about the difference between casual rudeness and targeted hate. And that difference? It's what turned a Saturday brunch into a felony booking. But hang on. If you thought this was just he said, she said, in a bagel shop, wait until you hear what came next. Because the real showstopper wasn't the hoodie or the comments. It was the cameras. Yup. In fact, 3. Caught on multiple cameras. We'll break down how not 1, not 2, but 3 different recordings turned this Panera feud into a viral courtroom exhibit. And trust me, it makes every HOA security cam feud look like child's play. If HOA disputes are fueled by gossip, Panera Karen's downfall was fueled by cameras. Everywhere. First, you had the cell phone video recorded by the pregnant wife. This clip spread like wildfire, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram Reels within hours. And it wasn't subtle either. You could hear the raised voices, see the body language, and watch the confrontation unfold in real time. Then came Panera's own surveillance footage. Managers reviewed it and confirmed to police. Sustakiewicz wasn't just a bystander. She was the instigator. Think of it like the HOA clubhouse camera catching the board president sneaking into the pool after hours. Hard to deny when it's all on tape. And as if that wasn't enough, police body cam footage sealed the deal. We're talking front row seats to the Miranda rights, the excuses, the shocked reactions. In one surreal exchange, Karen asked, "What does it mean to be arrested?" "Mom, it means you've officially lost your Panera Rewards privileges." What's wild here is how 3 separate camera angles gave us the Karen cinematic universe. Cell phone, viral. Surveillance, official. Body cam, legal record. It's like when your HOA neighbor catches your dog off leash. The clubhouse cameras back it up, and then the board president personally posted in the Facebook group. You are toast. And once the videos hit Reddit, oh boy. Armchair lawyers assembled like it was the Supreme Court of r/public freakout. Threads debated whether this was an overreaction or textbook hate crime. Memes sprouted. Panera Karen as a Marvel villain. Panera Karen fighting the bread bowl. One Redditor wrote, "This went from coffee spill to felony in record time." Another quipped, "Somebody get her a bagel lawyer." This is the modern HOA court. Public opinion rendered in comment sections. And trust me, no one rules harsher than Reddit. So, evidence wasn't the problem. The problem was, what do you do with it? That brings us to the next scene, when Panera Drama left bagels behind and marched straight into the courtroom. By Monday, November 18th, 2024, 2 days after the Panera showdown, Sustakiewicz found herself not in line for a sandwich, but in front of a judge. And here's where things got spicy. She wasn't just charged with battery. Nope. She walked into court facing 2 felony counts of hate crime, 1 misdemeanor of disorderly conduct. This isn't like your HOA fining you $50. This is like your HOA suing you for the whole neighborhood budget. It's next-level escalation. The judge laid down immediate restrictions. No contact with the victims, no returning to that Panera. Imagine being banned from Panera. That's like your HOA banning you from the neighborhood pool. You may survive, but you'll never recover socially. In court, prosecutors emphasized the hate crime angle. This wasn't about coffee. This was about words tied to identity. And the state wanted it on record that Illinois wasn't going to shrug it off. Meanwhile, Karen's defense tried the usual script. She felt threatened. She was misunderstood. She invoked freedom of speech. But the videos painted a different story. When the HOA has receipts, you can't talk your way out. Courtrooms are basically HOAs in suits. Instead of folding chairs in a clubhouse, you've got benches and gavels. Instead of Mr. Jenkins yelling about overgrown hedges, you've got lawyers yelling about legal precedent. And in both cases, someone walks away furious, claiming injustice, while everyone else breathes a sigh of relief. But here's the twist. While lawyers argued inside the courtroom, the community outside was already forming its own verdict. Which brings us to, in HOA terms, Zoran was the neighbor who finally stands up in the meeting and says, "We're tired of selective enforcement. We're tired of being targeted. Enough is enough." And that resonates. Because while one person saw a sweatshirt, the victim saw a lifetime of being treated like he didn't belong. That's not about bagels. It's about belonging. But victims' voices weren't the only ones ringing out. Advocacy groups came in swinging. The Council on American Islamic Relations, CARE Chicago, wasted no time. They called it what it was, an example of anti-Palestinian hatred. Their statement, "Anti-Palestinian hatred have followed us into our new homeland." Think about that. A simple Saturday errand became the poster case for decades of bias. That's like your HOA newsletter suddenly becoming the cover story of the Wall Street Journal. And it mattered. Because organizations with influence don't just comment, they mobilize. They bring resources, lawyers, community support. And in cases like this, they push hate crime charges into national conversations. But while groups were condemning, the internet was memeing. And oh, did Reddit deliver? The Reddit verdict came fast and merciless. Within a day of being charged, she's already facing hate crimes. Meanwhile, other cases take days. She went for coffee but got cuffs. Imagine being banned from Panera for life. The ultimate suburban punishment. Reddit threads became the HOA gossip mill. Funnier, sharper, sometimes crueler. And while some debated fairness, most agreed the footage didn't lie. This was the equivalent of your HOA Facebook group exploding over someone's lawn flamingo. Only instead of flamingos, it was felonies. And instead of fines, it was potential prison time. But roasting online is easy. The real question, what does this mean for how we treat hate crimes going forward? Here's where it gets serious. Legal experts say Panera Karen's case shows how video evidence plus public outrage equals swift charges. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Not all victims get that combo. Some hate crimes linger without charges for weeks or never get classified that way. It's like HOA selective enforcement. One guy gets fined for a slightly tall hedge, while another keeps 12 illegal chickens without consequences. The rules are there, but enforcement depends on visibility, pressure, and receipts. That's the conversation this Panera case sparked. Are hate crime laws only applied when the cameras are rolling? And that leads us to the final crumb in this bread bowl, the ultimate takeaway. Here's the moral of the story. You cannot treat Panera like your personal HOA battleground. You cannot turn a sweatshirt into a crime scene. And you cannot hide behind freedom of speech when your words target someone's very identity. Because in 2024 Illinois, actions have consequences, and sometimes those consequences are felonies. The lesson? Mind your bagels, mind your business, and remember, in the age of smartphones, every HOA squabble, every Panera meltdown, every poorly timed insult can, and will, end up online, judged by millions and possibly prosecuted by the state. So here's where I hand the gavel to you. Was justice swift and fair here? Or was it inconsistent compared to other hate crime cases? Do you think cameras save the day? Or do you worry justice now depends on viral moments? Drop your thoughts below. Spill your tea, pour your coffee, but not at anyone's face. And hey, if you want more wild, HOA-style breakdowns of everyday drama that turns criminal, hit subscribe. Because here, we don't just cover news. We uncover the neighborhood wars behind it. Until next time, keep your lawn gnomes legal, your bagels peaceful, and your Karens away from Panera.